Do 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 do. Welcome to the Stronghold podcast.
And we're going to do everyone's favorite. Give it a clap. Hopefully we're synced up. If not, this is going to be a problem. But I'll fix that later because I don't want to just use that audio because I have a feeling that audio is going to be bad.
It's probably garbage.
It's probably hot garbage.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice camera. It's just not going to be as good as these will.
Right.
Because I spent money on these. I spent money on that, but not the same amount of money that I could have to get it to this quality.
Yeah. How much is something like this setup? Like these microphones?
So I think in total, for the podcast, I've spent probably close to... This whole setup here was about 110.
Okay.
That was 300. So
that's not that bad.
Really not.
Honestly.
Yeah, because I'm going to use that for more stuff other than just the podcast.
Right.
So I guess I should probably introduce who you are.
Sure, go for it.
We're here with Mark Johnson. He's
Hello.
new.
I am.
So tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. I mean, where do you want me to begin? Like, just how in depth of a description are you looking for?
As in depth as you want to give. We got all the time in the... Well,
sweet.
We have till like 11.
Till like, all right.
So we've got
plenty of time.
Yeah, we've got like 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Ideally, we keep this under an hour, but you know.
Noted. So my name is Mark Johnson. I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. Went to Catholic school all my life, K through 12. So nice. In Wichita, they actually have Catholic or tuition-free Catholic schools. So pretty unheard of, across the U.S. anyway. Mm-hmm. So huge blessing. I grew up with 11 other siblings. Dang. So there was 8 boys, 4 girls.
Nice, nice. Where do you fall in that?
So I'm number 10 of the 12. So there's 2 beneath me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's kind of wild.
It is. It is kind of wild. I mean, like, you kind of take it for granted growing up. Mm-hmm. Just like how great it is to always have a group of people, like to play board games with, or like, I don't know, like me and especially with 8 boys, like we were always outside, like
for sure,
playing superheroes and all sorts of stuff. So,
I will say, I think I have a family that either ties you or one-ups you.
Okay.
But in a very interesting way.
Okay.
So this family had 9 kids. I think I might have told this story on the podcast already, but you've never heard it.
That's true.
I've never heard this family has 9 kids. You might actually know some of them.
Okay.
The last 3, the youngest 3, to get them to 12 were triplets.
Dang.
Yeah. They're all now, I think, my computer's doing the thing where it sounds like a jet engine.
Right.
It'll do that. Don't worry too much. But, yeah. So they're all now, I think, like 5 or 6. So
okay.
I bet
so
that's
pretty
exciting.
young family then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have older kids that are like into their 20s.
Sure.
But the triplets are pretty young. So it helps that, they have older kids that can like help take care of them.
Yeah.
Do you know the Sharpshire family?
I have met Thomas.
It's actually his cousins. There are a lot of Sharpshires.
So maybe.
Yeah. I think Thomas is also like a group of, I think they have 6 or 7 or a lot of kids as well. So yeah, I come from a weird homeschooled Catholic family of 3 kids. So
yeah, that is pretty light when it comes to homeschool.
Well, part of it is there's a 11-year gap between me and my next oldest brother.
Oh my gosh. So you're basically an only child.
Yes.
Okay.
I was raised as an only child. I had 2 rooms all to myself.
Yeah, sounds
but
right.
I get nieces and nephews. So
there you go.
It kind of works out. I kind of won.
That's true. Yeah.
So
my best friend growing up, he had 2 older siblings as well, but similar to you, like there was like a 10-year, maybe it was more than that. It might have been close to like 15 year gap between him and his.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's basically an only child growing up.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely interesting, like getting to college, because my parents were pretty chill with my brothers. They were just like, hey, you can kind of just get a piece of paper and hang out. And then when I rolled around, they're like, doctor, lawyer, engineer. I didn't end up as any of those.
What are you doing now?
Operations management. So business, still something like pretty legitimate. Yeah. But not doctor, lawyer, or engineer. So
fair enough.
Yeah. The cancellation process was doctor, don't like blood, lawyer,
That's fair.
and doctor, too much school, Lawyer specifically, too much reading. And then engineer, I was okay at math, and then I hated math. So
Yeah, don't want to do that.
the obvious progression of like, yeah, I'm all right at this. No, this is the
Sure.
worst thing ever. But yeah, so family of 12.
Yeah. So, I am in an interesting spot in my family where there's actually, so most of my siblings are only a year or two apart, whereas I have 3 years between me and my older brother, and then 4 years between me and my younger brother. So I have the biggest gap. So
Yeah.
at certain times, like I almost felt like an only sibling, but more accurate, I suppose. It was almost like I fit the role of like being the youngest child and the middle child and the oldest child at large portions, of my life. Because like in high school, you know, I had my older brother was a senior when I was a freshman. And then I was like, I went through the rest of it on my own until I was a senior, and then had my little brother. So like,
Yeah.
I kind of had like this younger brother kind of vibe as a freshman, but then almost like only child-esque. And then I was going through most of like those formative years, like sophomore or junior year, by myself pretty much.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, I was able to like be the older brother to my younger brother. So it's kind of funny, like when people meet me and they're like trying to guess, like, oh, are you like an older sibling or middle child? Yeah, you know, like they just can't place
all of
it.
them.
Yeah. So, so went to Catholic school my whole life, and then went off and did mission work straight out of high school for 2 years.
For Net, right?
Yeah, for Net Ministries. Shout out. Really just incredible time. Met my current girlfriend through that. We did mission work together.
Nice.
And so started dating her between my first and second year, and she is from Kentucky, so she goes to University of Kentucky.
Nice.
But her family actually lives like 30 minutes south of Cincinnati.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Kentucky.
Yeah, so Kentucky still.
That's
but
just
like
all of Kentucky is 30 minutes south of Cincinnati.
right, yeah.
Like,
But like Lexington is like an hour and a half, so
it's a little bit of a further of a stretch.
right, just a little bit. And I ended up getting put on a team my second year in this general region. So like all that kind of culminated to me like really like finding contacts in the area, being closer to my girlfriend Bree, and then like meeting a guy who is now my boss. So like all those things worked out. Like the Lord really knew what he was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's like what brought me to Cincinnati was the Lord primarily, and then a job and a woman. And if I say the job first, because if it hadn't been for the job being here in Cincinnati, I would have looked for something down in Lexington.
Yeah.
Because being an hour and a half away is still kind of a pain in the ass, but like it's better than 12 hours like it was when I was in Wichita. So
yeah,
I guess like a couple like things about me that people pick up on pretty quick is I think college is for chumps.
I was gonna get to that at some point. I was like,
I'm
I
sure
gotta work in the tagline.
Yeah, college is for chumps. It's like one of the first things that most people hear out of my mouth, particularly because I'm around a lot of college students nowadays.
Yeah, obviously you live with 7 of them.
Yeah, 7 other college students.
Over to another 6 college students.
Yeah. So not a fan of just the college system. I think it's an absolute scam. I think that
I'm not either.
yeah, and that's the funny thing.
I am one of those chumps.
Right. Like nearly every college student. I've had like a handful, like maybe 3 people who have fought me on this.
I don't know why you would. Like
I really don't.
We all just need to accept college was just a mistake the way we changed it to. It worked when it was just like trade schools and then medical school. But now it's like, you want to do numbers all day? You got to get 4 years of school for that.
Right.
Like
and they charge you at the wazoo for it.
Yeah. And
I think a big part of the problem was also when the government started like supplementing it so much. Like when they started giving out a bunch of federal money. Well, now colleges can just charge whatever they want because everyone is always going to have the money up front. Exactly. They're going to be paying off that debt for the rest of their life. But like up front, anyone can pay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the reason a capitalist system works is because there's competition and prices go down. It's better for the consumer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But when there is no competition, when you can just give out a bunch of money to anyone, then the colleges don't have to compete against each other for their prices for the most part. There's still some competition, but there'd be far more if people weren't getting financial aid so often. So
yeah, that's part of the reason I came to UC like over Ohio State, is because like Ohio State offered me this big scholarship for it was a full tuition scholarship.
Oh wow.
I still had to pay for room and board though, which is just the same number. And UC was only charging me that, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go there because I can get other scholarships to there to like cut that price even further down. I don't know if I can get more scholarships at I probably could have, but also I figured I can live at home, save money, just commute to campus, stay working. I am now living on campus and no longer working. So that whole dream just went like, and now I'm paying more money too. So like everything that like was good about UC, it's still good. I found other things to like replace all that, like, community, football, basketball, playing Ultimate. Most of it revolves around sports. The academics are, you can get that anywhere.
Right.
I could have gone to right state wrong school and shout out Thomas Schott. But like it just sort of came down to like I would rather be in Cincinnati. I was dating a girl at the time when I was like picking on colleges, and she chose Ohio State, and that was like a big draw for me because it was like I could see this going somewhere. But then long distance just like was not good for us, so we broke it off, and now I'm just like hanging out here, and it's like, all right, hey, maybe this was the right thing.
Right.
This has been great. And I've made a bunch of other friends that like go to OSU through SPO stuff.
Oh, good.
And like I just had other friends from high school that went to OSU, so nothing against it, except for in football. They didn't deserve to be in the CFP last year, and I'm glad they weren't in it this year.
Hot take.
Go Cats. Hey, when you play 5 games and your entire conference has to adjust their rules so that you get in,
really? See, I don't know anything about football, so like
I know too much about football. That's my mom's consistent rule whenever I go out to dinner with her. Is me and my dad get to talk about football for like 10 minutes, and then we just can't talk about it. So we use it sparingly, just every once in a while, just like, hey, did you hear about this?
So you don't just take the 10 minutes like all at once.
No,
you have to spread it out.
Yeah, because every once in a while, so we've done it before where we take the 10 minutes, and then later I'll remember, oh yeah, I heard this crazy thing, and I try and bring it up, and my mom's like, no.
Dang.
Don't do that.
So she have a timer just like sitting there, just like
no, she's just like kind of it's like a 10 minutes like general. So it is like the number one thing I talk about. It's great for analogies. It is fun to keep track of. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's exciting, and
fair enough.
There's a lot of cool storylines in football.
Yeah.
I am also pretty big on the NBA, but less so than like I don't mostly because Cincinnati doesn't like have a basketball. Like we have UC, which we were pretty bad this year, but it's a rebuild year. I'm not going to be upset. Yeah. But we don't have like a pro team, so I don't really I mostly just keep track of like individual players. Sure. So that's my big thing.
I don't follow any sports closely. But if I were to like ever get into any, I think basketball would probably be the first one. Yeah. I mean, I've always enjoyed watching basketball.
It's an exciting sport.
It is. I love fast-paced sports. I love basketball, soccer, hockey. See, I didn't think I'd like hockey, but
I want to get like more into hockey.
Really?
It's just like it like coincides too much with football and basketball. It's like I already have so much time committed to this. I have to like be able to do other things. Right. If I try and do both, I'm just not going to do anything. Yeah. But yeah, my dad and I would both agree that soccer is like a fast-paced sport, but like not a high-scoring sport. So that makes it less interesting. And
I totally get that. I understand why people feel that way, but I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Ultimate?
I played a lot of Ultimate in high school. I was actually part of a group. They're called Knights of the Holy Queen, and they would like meet every Thursday and like go to mass and then go get dinner, and then we'd play Ultimate afterwards. Yeah, super based, right? Pretty good group.
Yeah.
Yeah, played a lot of Ultimate. I really enjoy it. I like disc sports. I mean, I've played a fair amount of disc golf as well.
Disc golf is great.
I don't like follow any like Ultimate, like pro stuff though.
I'm guessing, I don't know if you know this about me. I played Ultimate all 4 years of high school.
Okay, like on an actual team?
Yeah, on an actual team. So we were the only homeschool team for a long time. There was another one in Kentucky that started.
Gotcha.
But we were the only homeschool high school team. And we were consistently in the top 25 high school teams in the country.
Dang. In the country?
Yeah. So we placed
Impressive.
5th at nationals my sophomore year, and then 12th at nationals my senior year.
Dang.
My dad actually helped like start Ultimate. I've definitely said all this on the podcast before, and I feel bad that people are gonna have to listen. But it's a major part of my life, and you don't know this, so
right.
It's just a very big part of my life. We as a homeschool Catholic team, we also went to mass every Saturday night after our set of games. Play 4 on Saturday, go to mass, wake up the next day, play like 3 or 4 on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was always a good time. A lot of lifelong friends made through that.
Good.
I introduced a bunch of guys to the sport from my Boy Scout troop too. And a lot of them admittedly got way better than me. One guy in particular, he's a friend who goes to Ohio State. He's now starting for Ohio State's Ultimate team, which is really good.
Really?
Yeah. They're like one of the top college teams in the country. So that's exciting that I like kind of introduced him to the sport.
Yeah.
And now he's like just far surpassed me.
Dang.
So
that's pretty cool though. I mean, that you were able to like share that with him and that's not become one of his passions.
Yeah.
Like
he's very good.
Yeah.
But it was just a big part of growing up. And like, I still keep track of like, the AUDL a little bit. Pro Ultimate is very different from like normal Ultimate.
Yeah. It's not as casual.
So there's a lot of rules in like regular, like standard club, high school, any normal way people play it. There's a lot of rules that are very different than the AUDL.
Okay.
Like they only do the stall count up to 7, whereas most people do 10.
10, yeah.
And then you're allowed to double team. So both of which it's mostly, also the field is wider and like there are different dimensions. It's mostly to make it more fast paced and more exciting, which I agree. There are some crazy plays.
Really?
But, if you watch the AUDL and then you go and watch a high school game or a college game, or even like, actually this summer, the World Flying Disc Federation Club Championship. So it's World's Club Ultimate. So it's like some of the best players that are just playing for fun.
Sure.
Will be in Lebanon, Ohio this summer.
Dang.
Yeah. So I got to volunteer at that last time. I'm probably going to try and volunteer again at it. But I wish I could remember the dates off the top of my head. But it's some exciting Ultimate.
Why Ohio?
So we have 2 of the best tournament organizers in the world. Just like I would say, just in general, these 2 guys are just incredibly smart. And we have a lot of flat space here because it's Ohio.
Yeah.
And also a lot of good Ultimate too.
Gotcha.
Ohio State just up the road. UC's been pretty good in the past. Really good high school Ultimate, and a lot of people that care about the sport. So it's kind of the ideal place for that sort of thing to be hosted. And, it's just a lot of fun. Last time I got to like scorekeep for a Russian team, got to watch Revolver, a really good team from the Bay Area.
Okay.
That they ended up winning it all. It was awesome. The last day they had a bunch of like weather delay, or the last like weekend of it, they had a bunch of weather delays. So they ended up moving it indoors, and indoor Ultimate is so much more exciting because it's, it's a huge factor is wind.
Yeah.
When you take out the wind from these like level of players, they're just throwing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And
because there's no other variable.
Yeah. There's zero variable of what's going to like happen to the disc. No, the disc's going to go where I want it to go. So they'll just put up these like crazy flicks, and they'll go like way up and around, and their guy will be down there, and there'll be like 3 other guys, and they'll all go up for it, and it's just like, what is happening?
That's insane.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun last time. I'm looking forward to this time again.
Good.
I don't know as many of like the teams that are going to be there, but
Okay.
you know, last year the runner-ups were Australian for the men's. I think there was a Canadian team for the mixed. So they have men's, women's, and co-ed.
Okay.
So it's honestly, my hot take is co-ed ultimate is the most fun to watch.
Really?
Because, you know, men's ultimate is very fast-paced. Women's ultimate is more like skill-based. So like co-ed is a really good mix of that.
Interesting.
Because you get like the high-flying, like laying out of the guys that are just pure athleticism.
Yeah.
Mixed with the still obviously super athletic women, but they're more intentional about like where they place the disc.
Sure.
There's also a really good women's team from Colombia named Revolution, which was my high school team name. They're all crazy good. Like,
Colombia. Would have never guessed.
yeah, they are like one of the best women's teams in the country. I think they got second in the women's. They might have won it all. I really don't remember. It's been like 3 years. So
Yeah.
but they're all like, everyone's super friendly because it's ultimate. No one gets angry over ultimate.
Right. I mean,
Although I did have one time a couple people yell at me in high school, but that's because
it's high school.
yeah, you get chippy in high school.
Yeah.
But all these people are just super chill. They're all just
That's
there to
awesome.
like play the sport. They don't really care about the end result.
Yeah.
Obviously, the higher up people know they're the higher up people. It's kind of like Alabama versus like any other college sports team.
Sure.
It's just roll tide. That's all they say. They
Yeah.
don't say anything about your school. Just show up, roll tide, and then leave.
Right.
It's like, all right, cool. So that's how like teams like Revolver and Revolution are. They're just sort of like, hey, how's it going? We're better than you. Woo.
Yeah.
Then leave. And it's, okay.
All right. Fair enough. You made your point.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend going out to see that.
Yeah. I'll consider that. What did you say that was?
It's gonna be in Lebanon, and it's gonna be over the summer.
Just sometime.
When I don't know exactly. I think it's July at some. Maybe, I don't know. I'll get the dates to you at some point.
Okay, sweet. Looking forward
And-
to that.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Watching.
I think that's interesting. Like, I guess I hadn't thought about it, but like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there is such a good team down in Colombia because, I mean, Ultimate is a lot like soccer in that it's a very simple sport. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, in football, like, you need to have pads, you need to have uniforms, you need to have, like, a football. I mean, like, you need to, and, you need big old goalposts and for field goals and stuff. Like, soccer, you just need a ball.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need anything
That's the
more than
exact
that.
same with Ultimate.
And Ultimate, yeah, you just need a disc.
It's
so,
a $10 sport.
yeah. So, like, yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. I honestly would be willing to bet that Ultimate will probably end up being a pretty big sport, like, internationally.
So the main reason that it's not as big, like just locally, it's already pretty decently sized internationally, but
yeah.
the main reason that it'll never be like as big, like domestically, I think, is because there's like no real sponsorship opportunities
Sure.
for it. Like Nike and Adidas and Under Armour are never gonna like pick up an Ultimate player.
Yeah.
Because like, what are they gonna provide? Cleats,
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Because everyone's gonna get their disc from Discraft, because
Yeah.
that's like the only. I guess Innova is like
It was pretty
becoming.
big, yeah.
They're becoming more popular with like frisbees,
Right.
But never use Whammo. Just burn every Whammo disc you have.
I've never even heard of Whammo.
they are technically the originators of the frisbee.
Really?
Yeah, so it's technically a disc, is what you play Ultimate with.
Yeah.
Frisbee is the Whammo version.
Okay.
Some people get really technical about it. I used to, and then I was like, wait, I'm an adult. I don't need
I
to
can do what I want.
I don't need to get upset about this anymore. There is one thing I do still get upset when people mispronounce, though. It's the Cincinnati Ultimate Players Association, CUPA,
Okay.
right? Because it's Ultimate.
Yeah.
Most people, like the heads of CUPA, say it
Koopa?
Koopa. It's like, it's not Ultimate. That's not the sport we're playing.
Ultimate.
Yeah. So I do get particular about certain things. I don't
Sure.
get as particular about other things.
I feel that.
Yeah. But that's like the main reason it'll just never become like as popular as football or basketball is
Fair
because
enough.
I mean, there's like jerseys, but there are already a lot of Ultimate specific brands that produce jerseys, and cleats. There's like Ultimate specific cleats. They're really cool actually. So, there's football cleats that have like the toe cleat for you to like really get that extra dig. And then there's soccer cleats that are missing the toe. So you have the extra control.
Yeah.
Ultimate cleats are like a weird combo. They're like the lightness of a soccer cleat.
Interesting.
And like that less aggressive, cleat pattern, but with the toe cleat. So it's like a really just weird kind of interesting hybrid.
I've never even seen them.
They're like exclusively online or at pop-ups at these like big tournaments like that.
Makes sense.
So, but I've seen them a few different places, and I know a few people that have them. They say they're pretty good, but you'd be better. They're a little more expensive than just getting like a $15 pair of soccer cleats.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you get them at like disc stores?
So there aren't really any like Ultimate like physical stores. Most of them are just online.
You don't have any here in Ohio?
No.
Okay. We had some in Wichita. Like frisbee golf is huge in Wichita.
They're like
Kansas,
frisbee golf shops.
Yeah.
Like, but those are mostly just at the courses. So, yeah, there are no real like just Ultimate shops. So
which makes sense. Because again, like, what all are you gonna sell?
Exactly, you're gonna sell a T-shirt, pair of shorts, cleats, and a disc. Like, because that's all you need.
Right.
I do have one thing that's it's called a Hucket. It's a 5-gallon bucket specifically designed for Ultimate.
Okay.
It's incredible. Best thing I've ever gotten. I got it for free because, a bunch of tournaments give them out.
Yeah.
But it's like a modified 5-gallon bucket. So, your average 5-gallon bucket's about yay tall. This one's like a little bit taller.
Okay.
And it's wider at the top so you can set a disc on top and it won't fall like further in, but it'll still like fit.
Yeah.
Totally waterproof. There's a lid for it. It's like a super genius design. Because you can like put all your jerseys and stuff in there, your cleats in there, pop like 6 discs on top, seal it. Doesn't matter, rain, shine, snow. Your stuff's dry.
Interesting.
It's pretty great.
You use it for things other than frisbee?
I've used it for a few other things. I mostly just use it for like playing Ultimate. So,
okay.
And even then, I like now, whenever I play, I only use it if it's raining out.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, I just bring like a drawstring back because I don't have as much stuff that I bring now versus like when I was playing in high school. Because for tournaments, you want kind of all your stuff in one place.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I'm walking over to Gettler. That's a 10-minute walk maybe.
Right.
I just need a drawstring bag with an extra T-shirt and cleats. So
there you go.
It's a little more simple now, but
nice.
Yeah, it was always a fun time.
Yeah. So where does that leave us?
Did you play any high school sports? I think that's the obvious next question.
Sure. Yeah, I swam in high school. I swam pretty much my whole life. Nice. From probably 5 or 6 years old. Was just on like a recreational league, so never anything serious. I was never very good at it, but it kept me in shape in the summer, somewhat.
As much as you can.
Yeah, I used to be kind of a chubby kid, especially over the summers. I'd get pretty chubby, just eating lots of, you're around all day. Yeah, so you just eat whatever you want, And then in high school, I think I only swam my first 3 years, and then in my last year I managed because I was so involved in a bunch of other stuff that I was like, I can't.
That makes sense.
I couldn't make it to most practices, but I could make it to meets, so I just helped manage the meets and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, I didn't do too many sports. I did track in middle school, which like that doesn't really matter, and then
no one real does track.
Well, especially in middle school, it's like it's not like something to be like to brag on, I guess.
Yeah, I ran like a 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
Wait, that's good.
That's very good.
4-minute half mile. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, 4-minute mile is insane.
That is actually that's impressive.
The record's like 3.8 or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's something like stupid. Like
that is insane. Though.
No one should be able to do that.
Yeah. How many miles per hour is that?
A fair amount. Wait. I
guess it'd be like 20 miles an hour, right? If it's just 3 minutes.
Yeah. That is how that math checks out. I'm pretty sure.
I think so too.
I stopped being an engineer, so I stopped doing math.
Yeah, I don't go to college, so.
Yeah, exactly. No math. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I think 20 miles sounds about right, which is insane. Like Usain Bolt ran like 27 miles an hour.
Yeah.
When he set the world
Over
record.
100 meters, though,
Right.
which is a lot less than
Yeah,
a full mile.
So 20 miles. I mean, that's crazy. Not 20 miles an hour, but
It's
20 miles an hour.
It's kind of wild. Have you ever seen those like Olympic like distance runners? You know.
No.
Okay, that's right. You said this the other day. You don't watch the Olympics, which
No.
I still think is wild.
I don't know.
How do you run track and swim and not watch the Olympics?
Well, because again, I was not serious about any of those sports.
That's
like
fair enough.
I just kind of did them to keep myself in shape, give me something to do.
All right,
So.
next Summer Olympics, we're watching them.
Okay.
Which is going to be in 2 years, and I doubt
a
we're going to be living
long
together. But
Probably not. I might be down in Kentucky by that time.
I would call you and say, Mark, we're watching.
All right. I'd be interested in watching swimming. I mean, I've like watched some.
You've
Olympic
seen
sports.
events and
Yeah, I've
stuff,
seen
yeah.
events, but it's never been something that I've put on myself and be like, all right, tonight's the night. I'm gonna sit down and watch, gymnastics or something.
My
Like,
family and I did growing up. I didn't watch these Olympics, but that's just because I was doing other stuff, and they were in China, and China's cringe. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna give China
Facts.
extra money by giving them ad revenue. So, yeah, the Olympic distance runners, so like the 800 meter and like even more than that, like even the Olympic marathon runners.
Yeah.
The pace that those guys keep is crazy.
I bet it is.
It's
I mean,
like
you're at the Olympics.
they're still running like 5-minute miles
That's insane for a whole 26
marathon.
miles.
Yeah, they're running.
That's
And it's like
insane. So what is that like? And that's like an 80-minute mile. No, that's not right at all. That's like
No.
130
wait.
minute mile. 26 miles. 130-minute marathon.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
I was like,
a little over 2 hours.
what math are you
Sorry,
trying to do?
none of that made sense, but I got there.
You got there, and yeah, you're about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other crazy thing is like the distance cycling. Some of that stuff's
Dude.
wild too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when you can just cheat your way through, like it's gonna be even more impressive.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not impressive, but it's gonna be more like
More impressive in the moment until we find out that they're
right.
cheating.
Yeah. More impressive to us.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we watched like a documentary on like unethical things in class the other day, and they brought up like the whole doping scandal, and it was just like there's so many people involved in that. It was wild.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah, it's like I'm surprised they still like have that as like a legitimate sport, because there were just so many people involved in it that got banned from cycling, and it's like, who's left to do this now?
Right.
Like,
I actually have a good buddy of mine who went to nationals for cycling in Mexico.
that's sweet.
Yeah, when he was like, he might have been in middle school. I'll have to double check the facts on that. So Pablo, if you're listening, just shoot me a text.
Yeah, I also had a friend in high school who did, what was it? It was like a mix between mountain biking and road biking. Bike cross or something. It's not quite right, but essentially what they do is they'd be biking up this like mountain or like in these like mountainous areas, and then they'd have to stop, get off their bike, and carry their bike up this hill, get back on, and like keep going.
Dude, that's crazy.
And he was like pretty good at it, and he'd do like Olympic powerlifting like workouts to like his quads
Get
were
ready.
insane.
I bet. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
you're going up
dude
a
could,
hill
like-
with a bike.
Yeah. He could do some just like wild squat stuff. And then he was really good at ultimate too, because he was just stupidly in shape.
Right.
So
Dude, that's insane.
yeah, it was nuts. He was just also just great guy.
That's
So,
good.
His older brother is a priest in Dayton.
Nice.
Yeah.
We like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
We
good.
do like that. He's now living in Michigan, I think.
We don't like that.
Yeah, Michigan's kind of cringe.
Dude, facts.
Except for, well, there are parts of Michigan that are really based. So
That's true. But like small parts. Very,
Yeah.
very small
Not-
parts. Like middle of nowhere. Like
not like, I guess. Wait, no, this is right. This is right.
That's right.
Not like here. This part of Michigan, cringe.
Very cringe.
Like Detroit area,
Very cringe.
ew. Up here, like by the pinky though, I guess it's more like this. Up by the pinky, based.
Almost. Almost. Did you say like UP or like almost the UP?
Almost the UP.
I guess
the
actually the UP
is also
is technically on over here, isn't it?
yeah.
So really.
No wait, no. It's the UP's up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got there.
Yeah. So Pinky would be away from the UP.
No, Pinky's on the same side as the UP.
Oh, it is.
Pinky, UP. There's also
I
a
see.
map right there.
Would you look at that?
We could avoid all
Okay,
of
I
this.
don't know why I was switching Michigan and Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's the other way around.
Yeah, you're right. Because I was thinking of a buddy of mine that lived in Wisconsin, but he lived like just below the UP.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how lame Michigan's motto is, state motto?
What is it?
I might butcher this, but it basically translates to, if you seek a pleasant peninsula, look about you. Dude, that's super lame. You want to hear Kansas's state motto?
What's Kansas's?
Ad astra per astra. It's to the stars through difficulty. Now, that's
Okay,
a
that's
badass
pretty
motto.
Kansas is slowly growing on me. The more I talk to people about Kansas, the more it's
Dude.
like, oh, this is a pretty cool state.
You want to hear about a based state? Kansas, dude.
Okay, I was really afraid you were going to say Iowa. Because
No.
we've already established
Yeah, we've
I
talked
hate
about
Iowa with a burning passion.
Yeah. See, I'm not that. I don't have the same
the
feelings about
worst state.
Iowa. My feelings on Iowa are more just like pity. You know, it's like
Yeah. I
I hear
no
people are
pity for
from
them.
Iowa, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. You know,
Just never go to Iowa. Don't be from Iowa. Just lie to people. Tell them you're from Kansas. Like
It's better. You actually should do that.
or tell them you're from like Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is not a real place. There's nothing below Chicago, and there's nothing west of Chicago except for just essentially Iowa too. Like, I guess there's Springfield, which is I've never been, but
Yeah, I've
I would
never been
assume it's
either.
like okay.
Really, South Illinois is basically just like, it's like Northern Kentucky is to Cincinnati what like Southern Illinois is to St. Louis.
Wait, say that one more time.
So, as Northern Kentucky is to Cincinnati, Southern Illinois is to St. Louis.
Got it. Okay,
You
that
cross
tracks.
the water, you
Yeah.
know, cross the border.
St. Louis
It's
is a
just
nice
like-
city. I only went for like half an hour, went to a big church and went up in the arch, and I was like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's sad that they still have the Rams stadium there. I feel bad for St. Louis. I hate the Rams now. I am happy that Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald and Andrew Whitworth all got Super Bowl rings. I wish Andrew Whitworth had gotten a Super Bowl ring with the Bengals, but oh well.
At least he made it.
At least he made it. You know what? We'll get him next time. Like, quite literally, we'll probably be there next year.
Probably will be.
I am very confident.
Yeah. I honestly
maybe a
would
little
too.
too confident, but
I was also really confident that Chiefs would make it this year again. And
We talked about
saw
that.
how that worked out.
Yeah.
So,
did not go well for the
They-
Chiefs.
yeah, I know. That game was pretty rough against the Bengals, but I'm happy that like it was the Bengals. Like if it was just
Yeah.
some rando like schmuck team.
I
It's like,
still
ah,
think it's so
but-
funny. So, did you hear about the whole controversy with wow, that was a horrible pronunciation of that. Controversy with the Bills-Chiefs game and the overtime rules. Okay, so the overtime rules in the NFL currently are flip a coin, whichever team calls it right gets to choose to receive or like kick.
Yeah.
Whoever scores the first touchdown wins.
Okay.
However, if that first touchdown is not scored, the other team gets a chance to like take it back, and then it's just next score wins.
Okay.
So that's how we
And it-
beat the Chiefs is we intercepted them
Right.
in overtime and then set up the field goal for Money
That's right.
Mac to send us to the Super Bowl because Money Mac's the greatest kicker of
He's
all
the
time. Except for Justin Tucker. I do still like Justin Tucker. So the game before that, the Bills versus Chiefs game, went to overtime as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs won the coin toss and scored on their opening play, essentially. I think
Okay.
they might have run 2 or 3 plays, but still
Gotcha.
they scored on the first drive of overtime. Bills didn't get any chance to, do anything against it. And they went home, and the Chiefs went on to play us and lose. Also in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people were like, oh, the overtime rules suck because they don't get a chance to, like...
That is kind of whack.
So here's my personal opinion, especially on this, set of events.
Sure.
The Bills had a lead with 13 seconds left in the game. They have to stop one drive.
That's okay. I did hear about this part.
You have to stop one drive.
Yeah.
You're not playing the best defense of your life in that 13 seconds. It's 13 seconds.
Right.
You don't even need to play all 13. You need to play 1 second of that where you catch the ball before the Chiefs do.
Right.
And then boom, game over. You're on to the AFC Championship game, probably beating the Bengals because I love the Bengals. I thought we were one of the best teams this year. Obviously, we were.
Right.
I think the Bills would have beat us.
Really?
I think they just matched up better against us than the Chiefs did.
Gotcha.
Also, we just beat the Chiefs earlier in the year, so we still early in the month.
Mm-hmm.
So we were pretty fresh on how we play against them. And Lou Anarumo is an incredible defensive coordinator and is able to make a bunch of crazy adjustments at halftime that make it look like Patrick Mahomes doesn't know how to play football anymore.
Yeah, that's facts. I watched that game and I was like,
yeah,
what happened to this man?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we caught that interception, I was watching with 6 of my friends, and we were all just like, "Oh my gosh!" Jumping up and down.
Right.
That was a great time. But yeah, so that's my honest opinion. Is Bills can't stop them in 13 seconds. Really?
You kind of deserve to lose.
Yeah, you kind of force this upon yourself. Now I do agree. The whole coin toss essentially deciding who wins or loses.
Yeah.
Sure. But also it doesn't because the Bengals lost the coin toss.
And they won.
But
they did have to get an interception. And
yeah. But, we had to play defense.
Right.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You have to play defense. You have to play both. Defense wins championships. That is the saying.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And our defense won us the AFC championship.
Yeah.
Was not quite able to win us the Super Bowl, but that's because we were going up against Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. 2 of the best at their individual positions. So I'm not too upset about that, honestly. I'm just sad that we lost. It's not like I'm blaming the refs specifically or Eli Apple specifically. I think it's a collection of things that didn't go our way.
Yeah.
We had 7 drives in the third quarter where we came up pointless.
Yeah.
If we score on any of those drives, even just a field goal, we win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Or at least we go to overtime, I think. Because if we score a field goal, it's 23-23 with time expiring. So
yeah. And Bengals were up for most of the game.
Yeah. We didn't score first, but once we got scoring, we took the lead and held it pretty well, and then just kind of puttered away at the end.
Right.
Because the refs decided, we're going to start making calls. And then they gave the Rams 10 tries at the goal line. If you give Matt Stafford 10 tries at the goal line, he's probably going to score one of them. You give anyone 10 tries at the goal line, they're probably going to score. Yeah, so there were just a couple different things in that game that were just that was kind of sucky. Would have liked that to have gone differently.
Right.
But, it was a good learning experience for our guys.
Sure.
So.
But the Bengals also got that touchdown with the face grab and everything. But they shouldn't have had.
The Rams also prevented us from getting a touchdown with a hold that also should have been called. So there were just all sorts of things that were kind of makeup calls that just should have been called correctly in the first place, and no one would be as upset as they are.
Sure. And
the game might have turned out differently. It might have turned out the same. I just like consistency in my refereeing. That's my main thing. It's just if you're not gonna call it for the first 50 minutes or 58 minutes, don't call it in the last 2. You know, because that's essentially what they did. Is they're not calling any holding, any face mask, anything like that. All of a sudden, a linebacker is able to get a stop against the offensive player of the year. Oh, tweet. Holding. No.
Yeah.
You can watch that. His arm goes clean off.
Okay, I do remember that now.
Yeah, and it's just what the heck is this? Come on. But, oh well, it's in the past. Looking forward to next year. This is why my mom stops me from talking about football. Because, again, I could go on about this.
Right.
But I'm gonna stop myself.
Yeah. Watching that AFC Championship and then watching the Super Bowl this year, I think was the first time I'd ever watched a football game all the way through. Because as we had previously established, not my favorite sport. Not something that interests me that much. But I just say those 2 games honestly were enough to be all right, I get some of the hype.
Yeah.
Understand. Still not my favorite. But
I think the thing that really got it to be probably my favorite sport was playing fantasy football for the first time.
Yeah.
That was just so much because you're invested in every game. Every game now has meaning behind it. I've heard the same thing about sports betting, which is currently illegal in Ohio, and that's probably good for me because I don't want to lose all my money.
How about Kentucky?
I don't want to drive to Kentucky to. I think it's actually no. I lied. I think it's still illegal in Kentucky too.
Okay.
I think
you only got to go like 20 minutes.
Yeah. No. Oh man. I think it's illegal in Ohio and Kentucky, but not illegal in Indiana.
So like 30 minutes.
Yeah. But again, still, it's probably for the best that I just don't do it at all.
Sure.
Because I will spend all of my money doing that. I might make a bunch of money, but I also might just lose a bunch of money
Fair
too.
enough.
So, I think it's only illegal for like online sports betting. I think I could go to like a casino because that just recently became legal in Ohio too. There was a time where Ohio was just kind of a sad place to live.
Really?
And then we were like, let's add casinos and let's get good at football. We did those two things.
Got a little bit better.
Best state in the country. Because we are, Kansas likes to claim, oh, we're the heart of it all. No. You guys are like the empty like sternum.
I mean, we're literally the geographic center of the United States.
Yeah, which is the geographic center of a person is the sternum, and there's like nothing there. The heart's up over here. Also, Ohio's heart-shaped.
No, the heart is in the center. It's only a little bit to the left. I mean, that's where your
Look at that map. There's a map right over there. And Ohio is a little bit to the left of center, and it's shaped like a heart.
It's kind of shaped like a
heart. It's shaped more like a heart than Kansas is.
That's true. But
I hate to break that to you. I don't.
Lots of bread from Kansas. You know, we're the breadbasket of the world.
I'm not hating on Kansas. I'm just saying Ohio is.
Because
it's more.
Ohio's definitely top 10 for me.
For sure. I would say, obviously for me, Ohio's number one. Texas was okay. Florida's up there.
Really? Texas is number 3.
Give me your top 10.
Okay, so we got Kansas, obviously.
Yeah.
Nebraska, because Nebraska's just North Kansas.
Okay.
Same kind of culture there.
Kind of like North
people.
Kentucky being just South Ohio.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So Kansas 2.0. And then you get Texas, because Texas is honestly super base state. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I get why people from Texas say it's number 1, and honestly, it could potentially take number 2 if they weren't just so freaking annoying about it. You know, that's the only thing that brings Texas
also
down.
It's really flat, and
well, in some parts, it's also like really mountainous on the east part. I don't know where you were at.
We were driving through the east part, and it was pretty flat.
I'm sorry, I meant west.
I was gonna say
like El Paso is like on the tip of the Rockies and stuff.
But enough of it is just like super flat that it's like, there are nice cities though. Dallas was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But all right, so Texas number 3.
Yeah, Texas number 3. And then in no particular order, but to round out the next 7, you got New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Ohio, Colorado. Let's see, so we're at like 7 now. Man, I actually did make a list at one point, but I don't have it on me. Louisiana.
Okay. You got 2 more.
Yeah, I got 2 more. Man, what else is on that list?
I'm just gonna. Oh, that's gonna be loud. I'm just gonna slide that a little.
Thanks. We're gonna throw. Yeah, we'll throw Florida on there. Florida's fine.
Yeah, Florida's pretty nice.
Florida's it's kind of volatile. You know?
Yeah.
So I might have to rework that.
It has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, facts. And then we're gonna throw. Man, I don't know. Most states kind of suck.
That's very true.
Most states are below average. Honestly,
most states have just like too much stuff against them. Like they've all got their pros, obviously.
True. Well, not Missouri
or Iowa
or California.
Okay, California's got a nice coastline and nice parks. The people there and like the cities there, bad.
Yeah.
Which are obviously way outweigh the coastline and parks. Because I can get coastline and parks in other states.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Many other states.
If there's something about the state that makes it irreplaceable by any other state, then it's a good state.
Yeah.
Like Texas being just giant and based, irreplaceable. Florida being swampy and weird, kind of irreplaceable. I mean, there's like Alabama and Louisiana. And,
DC's kind of swampy.
California being cringe and coastal and city-like, it's just New York too.
Facts.
It's just like they're just the same place.
That's super true. I've never heard someone
It's
describe
just,
it like that, but that's true.
It's just bigger New York.
Yeah.
The whole state. No offense to Brian if he ever listens to this, but California.
I don't think Brian really likes California that much either.
He likes parts of it, which is respectable because,
Yeah.
you know, I can appreciate parts of it.
Sure.
However, there are just states that do it better. Michigan is irreplaceable. That's my super hot take. Being able to touch 4 out of 5 Great Lakes and having a Great Lake named after you.
The Great Lakes are the only thing that Michigan has going for it.
General Mills cereal. Also, Ford. I mean, mostly just for the historic part. Like, I have no direct passion towards, like, Ford cars now. Don't you drive a Ford?
I do drive a Ford, but Ford's not my favorite.
Okay.
They're growing on me. I'm more of a Honda guy. Like, I'd love to drive a Civic.
That's what I drive.
Yeah, it's just a good car. Honestly, I said for a long time that it's my dream car.
I really like the new Honda Civics. They're very nice.
They're beautiful.
I have a weird thing where, like, if the, like, trunk of your car or, like, you know, like, the end of your car looks bad, I don't like it.
Dude, actually, I'm exactly the same. I know what you mean. Like the back of the crash.
The old Honda Civic is just this flat, boring, nothing to write home about. The new one looks like a robot face.
It does.
Like, hell yeah.
And, like,
I'm all in on that.
The Honda Civic hatchbacks, beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Hatchbacks are just, like, generally pretty nice looking. Right. There are certain ones that are like, oh, that's just a box that you threw onto a sedan.
Yeah.
But then there are others that are, like, clearly designed well. Like, a lot of Subarus.
Yeah.
Subaru hatchbacks, very nice.
That's true. Subaru hatchbacks are very nice.
There was a Corvette phase where they didn't care about the, you know, the tail of it at all, and it was just a flat piece of plastic. And it's like, it's boring.
Yeah.
The new ones have all, like, the extra fins and stuff. And it's like, yeah, this is what I want.
That's how I feel about, like, Monte Carlos. Like, they seem like they should be, like, these really, really nice cars, but I hate the way they look, and especially the back of it. Like, the front's not so bad, but the back of a Monte Carlo, disgusting.
It's kind of boring.
It's But it's just like a ramp. Like, it just...
Yeah. I will say, this is my super hot take. The worst named car is a Ford Taurus.
Why is that?
Ford Taurus should be a giant truck. They should all come with custom, like, horns on the front. They should just be like the most obnoxious. Just think of the most obnoxious person you know and make them a truck, and that's a Ford Taurus. Just this giant, loud, really annoying truck.
Okay, facts.
And then it's like well named.
Right.
It's sedan.
It's just sedan. What's your, like, alternate name for the Ford Taurus?
The Ford sedan. Just like it's just the most
basic,
standard looking car. Like, in
facts.
It just doesn't, like, look like any. I did see a Ford Taurus XL, which is like a crossover.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, that works. You could have just made that the Ford Taurus. There's no need to, like, attach the XL on there. Just make all Ford Tauruses from now until forever more like this, because it should be a bigger car. Although my dad and brothers all rebuttal with the Dodge Avenger as the worst named car, because the Dodge Avenger is also a somewhat standard looking sedan.
Yeah.
But it's, like, got enough body details that it's like, this is worth it. You know, this is kind of worth, you know, it could be on a better car, but it's nothing like the Ford Taurus.
Yeah.
It's just a sad looking car. Now, the engine in a Ford Taurus is apparently pretty powerful.
Okay.
They're pretty, like, torque heavy and, like, pretty good cars.
My sister used to have a Ford Taurus.
I just they don't look cool enough to be called a Ford Taurus.
Yeah.
Like, the
Okay, I see
Raptor,
that.
super cool looking truck with a super cool looking name. Imagine a, like, Taurus truck.
Right.
It'd be so sick. But
does Ford just make Rangers and then 150s and 250s for their truck line?
The Raptor is also a Ford, I think.
Is it?
But it's like a modified F-250.
Okay.
Um,
I'm trying to, like, even think of what a Raptor looks like. I know you don't see him often enough that.
I mean, you do. They just don't, like, say Raptor in any big letters or anything. They really are just modified 250s.
Okay.
I'm pretty, like, I don't know. I might be totally wrong. I'm, like, saying all this on recording and camera. I'm just, like, pulling stuff out my butt, like, yeah, F-250. There you go.
I'm not. It's actually, like, a Hyundai truck or something.
Yeah, totally different
makes a Raptor.
But yeah, as far as I know, it's just a modified F-250.
Sure.
So it's a cool name for, an F-250 is a pretty kick-ass truck.
Yeah.
It's big, hefty, can carry a lot of stuff. It's part of the joy of it.
Yeah.
And then you put a cool name like Raptor on it. It's like, yeah,
There you go.
I want to drive this.
But see, even like a Raptor, I feel like a Raptor should be like a thin, slender kind of vehicle. Like Raptors are typically thought of like being like fast little skirting little
I
things,
do kind of agree with that, but also then there are like Raptors like birds, and those are usually the bigger and more powerful birds.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, because I think it's a sleeker version of the F-250 is like the main adjustment, or it's a more powerful version. Again, I don't really know.
Sure.
This is just based on my pure aesthetic understanding of this car. I know literally nothing about the interior of it.
Right.
I don't know how many horsepower a normal car has. Like,
yeah.
Anything over 10, it's just like, I'm not going to bother comprehending that.
Right.
Why would you have more than 10 horses?
Yeah.
Where are you getting all these horses to compare them? And how do they all have the exact same level of power?
Right.
I've never understood that as like a measurement. Like, what is just like,
how much is it?
Say RPMs or like say an actual measuring system that we have.
Yeah. How much is like 1 horsepower?
I don't know.
What does that even amount to?
Couldn't tell you.
Because I don't even know like where you even begin to measure that.
Yeah.
I know it's like the strength, like the power,
it's
the
like
strength,
the torque.
like how
it's
fast.
Like,
yeah.
There
should just be
3 engineers downstairs that could probably answer this.
Probably.
I don't feel like getting any of them though.
Or none of them. We are none of the engineers in this house.
It used to be.
You know
And then I
why?
said, no. Because
college is for chumps. That is right.
It's very accurate.
Okay, can you explain something to me?
Yes.
You might not have a good answer for it, but like,
I thought you were going to ask something about that closet there.
no,
but,
I just my eyes keep just something to look at.
Yeah.
But
I keep looking at the map now.
Yeah.
I pointed it out and it's like just staring at it.
I'm still trying to figure out like what my 10th.
Oh yeah, you still have one more state.
is. I think I would throw like West Virginia, Pennsylvania, or Indiana.
Interesting.
And all 3 for different reasons, and all 3 like would probably take the number 10 spot because they've all got things against them at the same time.
I'm surprised you're not going to like a Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Okay, no, I don't like the northern Midwest states because so this is also part of why I don't like Michigan.
Okay.
I'm about to piss a lot of people off. I'm okay with that. And here's why.
Let's hear it.
The northern Midwest, and I say the northern Midwest because technically, like, Ohio's
Kansas the Midwest.
Are considered the Midwest.
I will die on that hill. Ohio is the Midwest.
But here's the thing: is I don't think you want, like, I've stopped calling Kansas the Midwest as much as I call it the Heartland because that is like another geographical name for like that Kansas, area. Colorado, Nebraska, Oklahoma, that area. Because the people are different. Up in like the northern, like the typical Midwest states, so Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, the people there are assholes, but they're passive aggressive assholes, which is worse than like the Northeast where people are just assholes.
Mean. Yeah,
and
like
it's
the
like
Boston area where it's just like you suck.
Right.
Take 2 of the like just double birds and leave you alone.
But it's like
all right.
I've spent a lot of time in the Northeast. And I like that because then I know exactly how you feel about me. Mm-hmm. I prefer honesty over BS. Like making me like your goal is just to make me feel like you like me. Mm-hmm. But I hate that. That's a lot of and they know that about themselves. They know they're passive aggressive. They like have that as part of like their pride in their state. I hate that even more. But like you recognize that you have a flaw and you're upholding it as something to be like on a pedestal.
I will say, so I've when I was in Minnesota last summer, I drove with people from Minnesota, people from Kansas, and people from like the Northeast.
Sure.
And then obviously, I'm an Ohio driver.
Right.
So I've determined that Kansas drivers sort of just are more like Ohio drivers in that they can adjust to either one.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas driver that I rode with, maybe he's from Missouri. I don't remember exactly.
Poor fella.
He's from one of those two.
Okay.
And, very good driver. I felt perfectly safe. He was more aggressive than everyone else in Minnesota because Minnesotan drivers just are like, oh, no, you go. And then the other person goes, oh, no, you go.
I hate that. Don't be, okay.
Pick one.
Don't be nice when you drive. Be predictable.
Accurate. Or just be mean when you drive, which is more predictable at least.
Right.
Because it's just, I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut everyone off.
It's actually
You
a
should all
more
know
safe
that.
way to drive.
Yeah.
Hot take.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, so, the Kansas driver was the best. Northeast driver was definitely the second best. He was infinitely more
That's
aggressive.
interesting.
So it's a guy from Minnesota.
Okay. Where does he live in the Northeast? Because you don't...
Boston.
Okay.
Boston, New Jersey area. So
Okay.
two pretty miserable places to drive, apparently.
Yeah.
I've never driven there, so I can't really speak to it.
Sure.
But apparently, like, Boston and New Jersey are just terrible places to drive because everyone's just super aggressive.
Yeah.
So this guy was just super aggressive. There's a car like 10 feet that way. He's turning. He's just saying, nope, we're going.
Right.
It's like, all right. If I die, I die. And then, everyone else was Minnesota drivers, and they're just like, oh, no, you go. Oh, no, you go. And it's just like, no.
No one gets anywhere.
So I've determined that Ohio is the perfect storm of you get the Northeast, like people from New York and New Jersey area, the really aggressive, angry drivers.
Yeah.
And then you get all the passive people from like Minnesota and Wisconsin. And you stick them all in a city.
It's pretty
And
bad.
in that city, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And it leads to constant construction and constant accidents.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm
just
not
the
a fan.
worst area to drive in. Because like I drive much more like the New York side because my grandparents are from New York.
Okay.
I get a little bit more from that side of the family. So I've become a pretty aggressive driver.
Yeah.
You've seen me drive. You've driven past me. You've never been in the same car as me.
Yeah,
but
I did drive past you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, we drive pretty similarly.
Exactly. So definitely more that aggressive, like assertive. I think assertive is a better word.
Sure.
I'm here and I'm going there.
Yeah.
And if you're in my way, I will go around you.
Yeah.
So don't be in my way.
Right.
But then there are all the people that are more like a traditional Midwesterner where they're just like, you go first.
Yeah.
It's like that
Four-way
doesn't
stops
work.
in Minnesota are the worst.
I remember
They're terrible.
there were like two of those where it was just like, come on, someone just go. Like just
There's a simple order to it. Like
it's very
everyone
distinct.
should know.
Yeah, there was one weird intersection. It's right by the University of St. Thomas.
Okay.
It's going this way. It's a red light and then a red light with like two turn off streets.
Okay.
And then like a divider in the middle, and it's a pretty big divider. I think they're both one ways. So you can either turn like to the right at this one or to the left at the next one if
Sure.
you're going, or no, it's the same both ways
Okay.
because that's how directions work. And then there's people coming from, whichever. So like if I'm going down the main road, I can turn right there or left there. There's someone coming from my left, or there's someone coming from my right, depending on which light I'm at. It was the worst designed intersection I've ever driven through. And I live in Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh.
There's an intersection about 30 feet that way. Six-way light. It's the worst.
I'm not a civil engineer, but I want to strangle all the civil engineers.
Whoever designed that.
Who just designed all of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
It's all on hills. It's a great city. Once you just get used to it, you're just like, this is fine.
Right.
When you first show up though, or you first start to learn to drive, it's just like, who planned this?
It's terrible. Everything is a highway, and anything that's not a highway is still a very busy road, but it's only one lane.
Pretty much.
And I hate that. I hate it so much.
So all my friends in high school, when we were first getting our license and stuff, I was a year behind the rest of my friends, but that's because my mom was going to everywhere that I was.
Sure.
Just because That's just how it worked. I was homeschooled. My mom was going to everywhere.
Right.
It's not like I was like, Mom, can you drive me? It's just Mom's going there, so I'm going with her.
Yeah.
So then I finally got my license, and all of my friends were like, for the first like year and a half, they were all like, I don't want to get on the highway. And I was like, get me on the effing highway.
Right.
Because it's just, sure, merging when you're first learning to drive, a little scary.
Yeah.
Once you get on the highway, you go 65, and that's just all you do.
Right. It's really safe, honestly.
You sit in the one lane, and you just ride. People go past you. You pass people. That's it.
Right.
I don't want to have to be stopping and starting and stopping and starting.
It's more dangerous.
Yeah. Side roads just aren't my thing. And I had a bunch of friends that were like almost exclusively took side roads. And I was like, I don't get why you do that. I'm so much more afraid that I'm just going to like turn slightly and like run off the road.
Yeah.
Than, oh, I'm going 65. Someone passed me. All right. I'm still just going straight.
Right.
It's so much easier.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is still my philosophy on driving is I'd much rather take a highway over anything else.
Same.
Except for my first car I had like just horrible tires and like was constantly out of alignment. It was a 1999 Toyota Camry. Her name was Clara. She was a great car. She had a V6. It was incredible. And it had like that like more classic muscled car like body.
Really?
Obviously it's just a sedan and everyone knows it's a sedan. But for me, like I would ride a little lower than like everyone else was. And I was a little further back and I was like, yeah. And it had some pickup to it. So I'd go whipping around. But, the tires were crap. And the alignment was weird. So, like, to go straight, I had to hold the steering wheel like this.
That's really funny.
Yeah. We eventually got it fixed, but then it, like, went back out of alignment. So there were times I would be driving over. My friends live 30 to 45 minutes away just because of being homeschooled. And there aren't a lot of homeschooled kids where I grew up.
Yeah.
Most of them were over on the east side of Cincinnati. So driving over there, it would start to rain. And I'd just be like, I have to get off the highway. Because if I stay on the highway, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So I would just always get off like way earlier than I was supposed to, just because like I need to be going significantly slower than everyone else. So, yeah, that definitely like there were definitely times where I was like, oh, you just hit one slick spot and it's just, oh no, don't do that.
Yeah, I drove an 03 Buick Century for a long time. Also terrible tires.
Yeah.
And the night of one of my brother's bachelor parties, I was the DD because I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And it was raining really, really bad that day. And I had miscommunicated when I was supposed to be at the place we were supposed to be at. So I got there like an hour early. And then my brother was like, hey, are you going to like take me over there? And I was like, you didn't tell me that I need to drive you. He's like, well, you're the DD. I was like, I mean, that makes sense, but like
that tracks.
but I, you just didn't communicate any of this to me. So then I was like pissed off because I was there an hour early and I had to drive. It was across town too, so I had to drive like all the way across town. Which like looking back, it's like I drive that much just to work nowadays, but like in Wichita, it's a big deal to drive all the way across town because I don't know, that's just the way it is there.
Wichita, and that's like it. And there's like nothing for.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, it's just, there's Mason, there's Springdale.
Right.
There's all these like little outer cities.
And Wichita is a big city geographically.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very low density. It's very widespread because it's so flat out there.
Yeah.
So like, driving across town, you're covering a lot of miles, but you're driving about the same as you would here going like half the distance maybe.
That makes sense.
So I think that's why people get so upset about having to drive so far in Wichita, because like even if it's only like a 20-minute drive, like you're considering like you're driving considerable distance. Distance. Yeah. But anyways, I don't think I warranted as much nowadays, but like I was pissed, so I was like driving back super mad. I was like way speeding and it was raining really, really hard. And I was getting off the highway at my exit. And
that's always exciting. Having to slow down a lot when it's raining and you're speeding.
So I get into the other lane, merging over, and then I just don't stop merging. I was like turning my steering wheel, but my car was not changing direction. So I was going straight at like this concrete wall next to the highway. And I was like, this is it. Like, I'm dying. I'm going 70 miles an hour straight into a concrete wall. Like, these are my last few moments before I die. I had turned my steering wheel like as
All
far
the
as it
way.
would go. Nothing was changing. I was just
man.
sliding right at it. I hit a grate on the ground that was like, they have like grates every like 10 feet or something like that, just to collect all the rainwater. And I hit that thing, and like my wheel finally hit the ground because of the change in elevation.
Traction?
I mean, legitimately, I was like 2 feet away from hitting the
Holy
wall.
crap, that's wild.
And my car, like, of course, because like the wheels were now like completely to the left, and my whole like car is like, and then it gave me enough traction, and I like was basically stopped in the middle of this like exit, and I just like started my car again, and I was like,
There we go.
all right, we're going 30 miles an hour the rest of the way home. Like,
I had that a couple times. So I've been in now 3 accidents.
okay.
Only one of them was really like my fault.
Sure.
Technically 2. So I've really only been in 2 accidents. The other one was just slightly bumped into the guy in front of me.
Oh, okay.
And it was just jam-packed on the highway, just a little closer than I thought I was.
Gotcha.
Bumped him. We pulled over, checked out our cars. He was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm good. Got in, drove away.
Gotcha.
So that one was like technically my fault, but nothing ended up coming of it.
Sure.
My first ever accident, I was coming home from work. I used to work at a pool.
Okay.
So in Wyoming, Ohio. So Wyoming, Ohio is a real place. It's
I know. I've seen it.
yeah, it's a nice area. Most people don't believe me when I say Wyoming, Ohio. They like aren't from Cincinnati.
Sure.
They're like, that's not a real place. You mean Wyoming, like the state?
No.
And it's like, no, Wyoming, Ohio. It's like the second best public school in Ohio.
Really?
Second only to Walnut Hills. So that girl that I mentioned that I dated that went to OSU, she went to Wyoming.
Okay.
And that's where I met her. So
Gotcha.
I know way too much about the city of Wyoming. So anyways, I'm driving back from work, again in the same sucky car with the crappy tires. I'm going along, going a little over, I think it was like on like 5 over the speed limit or something.
Okay.
But it was raining and I was going faster than I should have. Car in front of me slams on his brakes. Apparently, I found it later because it was the people in front of him also slammed on their brakes.
Gotcha.
So I thought I had plenty of room, but I go to stop and my car just skip boom, and runs into him, run up on the curb a little bit. He gets out, I get out. He goes, "Hey man, I'm super sorry." Like he started apologizing to me, and I was like, "I'm at fault here. Like I ran into you." But he was like, just this nice older black dude who was just super chill.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey." He checked out his bumper. He was like, all these scratches were here. I'm good if you're good. And I was
Dang.
like, I'm freaking great for having just been in an accident just because you're being so nice to me.
Yeah.
I think this guy could tell I was like clearly a younger, newer driver.
Right.
But he was super chill about it. We both went our separate ways. I tried to call my parents. Neither of them picked up. It was a great time.
Classic.
So I'm just driving home at like 15 the rest of the way. Get home like, what the hell, guys? What's the point of having phones if you're not gonna pick up? I still say that to my parents sometimes too. It's just there's just times I'm like, try and call them, they don't pick up, and it's like, guys, I need you to be like available.
Right.
And then the last one was, I was driving back home from UC. This was my first semester. I was still commuting at the time, but
Okay.
I start going down the like 74 to 75. So it used to be way worse than it is now.
Okay.
So you know how you just kind of like merge and then there's like not really a merge lane when you're going on 75 north?
75 north.
Yeah. So like
to
you get off.
74?
So
Or
from 74 to 75.
oh, I don't think I've ever had to do that.
Okay.
Change there.
So there's a very small window where you like merge and it's just kind of sucky.
Okay.
But it used to be the I think it's 74 east comes in, or yeah, 74 eastbound comes in and merges with 74 westbound, but which is they're both turning into 75 north.
Okay.
So essentially what starts out as 75 north before merging with the other part, is the yield lane. That's the yield lane. 74 east comes around and just keeps going.
Okay.
And they don't yield. Somebody at 74 east yielded, which meant 75 north all yielded
Oh my gosh.
to the person yielding. So this car stops, then this car stops, then this car, then I stop. The guy behind me stops
Bruv.
after having run into me and bumping me into the guy in front. The front three people all go. I still would love to find the person that was the 74 eastbound car.
Yeah.
Because I want to punch that person. Because my car got wrecked. I literally could not open the trunk ever again.
Oh
I
my
never
gosh.
opened the trunk. I had so much crap in the trunk of that car. I
You
had
couldn't
like a
even like
sled in
pry it
there.
open with like a
No, we
pry
couldn't.
bar
Like
and thing?
it, like got the guy in front of me closed, like hit me in a way that it just like closed my trunk permanently.
dang.
We now no longer own that. Like we sold that car, so I don't know if the new owner has ever gotten it open. We never could. We also never like cared enough to like take it to a
Sure.
body shop and get it all worked out.
Yeah.
But whatever we tried at home just like didn't work. Totally jacked my alignment again. Just essentially reset my car to zero. We had done like all this work
Right.
to like get it to a place of like it's drivable now. Just to what's the point of having this thing?
Yeah.
So that's still by far the worst accident I've been on. And meanwhile, we're now on an active highway entrance ramp again. It's just me and the guy that hit me.
Right.
And we're just sitting there, and it's like, 7 p.m. The sun is set. It's dark out.
Jeez.
The guy, I go to look out my rear view to like see if I can get out, and there are just cars coming the whole time, and I'm like,
Dang.
I'm not getting out.
Yeah.
So, the other guy gets out. He comes up and he goes, "Hey, I'm super sorry." And I was like, "You're all good. I saw who it was." He was like, "Yeah, all right, cool. Well, let's just wait for the cops. Like, don't try and get out." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So then about 20 minutes later, the cops finally show up.
Classic.
So they, get all the details and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, you're good to go home if you can drive it." And I was like, "Hopefully." And it gets going, and I started driving home, and I'd call my parents, and they're like, "Yeah, we can come pick you up, but we don't really know how we're going to get to you because, they could try and come over this entrance ramp, but it's now completely closed off. Or they could try and pick me up on 75, but that's super dangerous to stop on an active highway."
Yeah.
So fortunately, I was able to just sort of drive myself.
Good.
But yeah, that was probably like one of the most miserable nights of my life. It
I
was just
bet.
like sitting, got like super minor whiplash. We didn't like play that up or anything because
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and like sue this dude for all his money because
Sure.
clearly it's not like it was an accident.
Yeah.
I don't really care. It was a nicer car, maybe.
Yeah.
And if it was only us two and like it was 100% his fault, I don't blame that guy at all
Right.
because I've had the same thing happen to me essentially. So, but insurance has worked it out.
It's good.
So, yeah, now I don't have that car anymore. And I haven't been in an accident since.
Good.
Although I did almost die one time
Really? While
yeah.
driving or?
while driving.
Okay.
So it was me, Luke, Leo, and Toby coming back
Alright.
from Columbus, Ohio.
All the boys.
Yep. So we had gone up for this retreat with Ohio State SPO.
Okay.
We're driving back. It started snowing. And my current car also does not have great tires. They're significantly better than the Camry because, the Camry essentially had bald tires, just like
Right.
completely
Driving on
zero.
marbles.
Exactly. So the Civic has slightly better tires. So we're going along, and I'm going 5 to 10 over. I like to drive fast. Oh well.
Yeah.
And we hit this ice patch, I guess, or the wind picked up or something. Because I'm going along. It's a perfectly straight road.
Yeah.
There's about 6 cars coming this way. There's no cars behind me, and there's no cars in front of me on my side of the road.
Gotcha.
But on the other side, there's 6 cars coming. We hit this point, and all of a sudden, I just feel the back end just go, whoop, and I go,
Like
oh.
fishtail a little bit.
And then it just started getting bigger and bigger, and I was like, there's a ditch off to this side, there's a ditch off to that side. Like, it was just a wide open road.
Yeah.
So my immediate reaction was just get us off the road, get us into the ditch, and just like crash my car so I don't run into any of the cars coming the other direction.
Right.
Because that's obviously the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Minimize the harm. Sure, we might get hurt, but that's way better than us running into another car.
Right.
So somehow we end up doing a full 360.
Oh my gosh.
End up facing the opposite direction we were going on the other side of the highway. So we were going this way. Now we're facing this way and on this side of the road. So it looks like we were just driving this way the whole time. Or no, that's not how we ended up. Sorry. We ended up facing the same direction on the opposite side of the road. That's what it was. So it was even worse. I'm staring at a car right there. And everyone in our car is just like, well, shit. Luke goes, everyone okay? And Luke just goes, no. I was like,
I can hear him saying that too.
yeah, I just put it in park, got out, went out, looked at my car, looked at my tires. Everything was fine.
So you parked your car while in the opposite lane?
So we were like slightly off the opposite lane. Cars were able to go past us.
Okay.
So when people saw we were okay, everyone went past us.
Gotcha.
I'm still amazed we didn't hit any cars.
Yeah, that's insane,
Because there were
dude.
6 cars coming the other way. I just don't know how it worked. Like, purely by the grace of God, we did not
Was
die.
this like last winter?
This is literally like in November or October.
Okay.
Or like of this year.
Sure.
So in the past 3 or 4 months.
Dang, I would have pooped my pants.
Yeah, I'm amazed I didn't. So then got back in the car, started her up, kept driving, drove way slower the rest of the way,
Yeah,
like 5 under. We went to Culver's, and it was my first time having Culver's, and it might be the best
Really?
food I've ever had.
Really?
Mostly because I just had a near-death experience.
Okay, fair enough.
And I think as everyone knows, near-death experiences just make everything better.
That's true. You
Just
just
like-
really learn to appreciate everything.
This is just the greatest food I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know, and it is good food.
Culver's
but-
pretty good. Not my favorite, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
pretty
It's
good.
definitely up there.
Yeah,
I would love to
same.
go back again. There's one like over in Madeira. So I'd be interested in going to that
We should
again.
go sometime.
We should.
Good stuff.
All right. Do you have any closing thoughts? Because we're now at
Yeah, we're
almost
pretty-
an hour and a half, and I'm not going to edit this at all.
Oh
other than-
man. Closing thoughts. I guess number one, college is for chumps.
Very accurate.
Don't go to college. It's a scam for your money.
Unless you're becoming a doctor or a lawyer.
Doctor, lawyer, or you want to study philosophy/theology. It's the only
But
other
that
reason.
you should go to very specific colleges and not just a general public college.
Facts.
Namely, Franciscan University in Steubenville.
Correct. Or University of Mary up in North Dakota, Bismarck.
What about Benedictine? Yeah.
Benedictine is also good.
Benedictine. They also have SPO.
They
which
do
is,
also have SPO.
as we know, I don't have any SPO logo
Dang,
stuff.
That's too bad. We could have
but-
drawn on the whiteboard too. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna, but we'll do that next time.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna keep using this room because this room is great.
It's a good room.
The fact that we're both able to fit in frame is still
It's
just
impressive.
mind-boggling
Yeah.
to me.
So there's that.
Colleges for chumps.
Colleges for chumps.
Don't go unless you're going for super specific things. Go to trade school.
Go to trade school, or just
Trade
don't go to
school's
school. Trade school is great for. I think a better. I like the term vocational school more than trade school
Okay,
because trade school you really like. You get a lot of different things and you learn what you like, then you can stick with it. But if you already like know that you like carpentry or you know that you like plumbing, just go work for some guy and apprentice.
Like an apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is the other. That's
right.
what my friend did for a little bit with plumbing. He was like kind of a. I think he might have been in trade school at the time.
Okay.
Now he just works for the seminary and just like does maintenance for
Yeah.
them. And he makes like
It's great.
way more than I did. So, you know.
Make a lot of money in the trade.
And you don't spend any money on school.
Exactly.
So I still like the more I learn about trade school, the more I'm like, why am I here?
Right.
I'm in my junior year, so it's like there's no point in backing out now. I'm too far in.
Yeah.
There's
fair enough.
there's a relative level of sunk cost that I'm just like so far past that it's just got to finish it out.
But sometimes, I mean, you're at the end of your junior year. If it was the beginning of your junior year, I would have been like, don't do it.
Yeah, even at the beginning
So
of my
not
junior
worth
year,
it.
I was already thinking like I could stop, and then I was like, no, but my parents expect this, and
You're an adult, Brandon.
hey, listen, mom and dad are close enough that they can like come down and get me.
Nah,
so
fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah,
You make an excellent point. Let's see. So, colleges for chumps is number one. Number two, I guess this actually goes back to the beginning of like, what are some things that people learn about me right away? I freaking love Wichita. I love Kansas. It's a beautiful place and greatly underappreciated, especially by those who do not live there. People who live there generally, for the most part, appreciate it. But it's a very flat state if you're driving on I-70. But that's because I-70 is intentionally put in the flattest part of the state because that's the cheapest place to put a highway.
That makes sense.
So if you drive through Kansas and you can't appreciate the flat land, you're not going to enjoy it. However, you go to the Flint Hills, it's a little more hilly. It's kind of fun. But also learn to appreciate the flatness because I tell you what, those sunsets and sunrises and the freaking stars.
I believe that.
Very beautiful
Yeah.
when you can see just horizon to horizon.
That makes sense.
And then I guess what's another thing that people pick up on pretty quick? I don't know.
I'm trying to think of. I don't have any like particular thing. Your love for Converse.
I do like Converse.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't talk about it very much, but I do
No.
love to wear Converse.
But that was one thing I picked up on because
yeah.
I recently got a pair of Converse and I was like, oh, that
They're
guy's
kind
wearing
of fun.
Converse.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That's like kind of a recent development in my life as well.
Interesting.
I really didn't start.
With the amount you already have, it's surprising that was recent.
Yeah, I have 3 high tops and 1 pair of flats. But I mean, all 3 of those high tops I got in the last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild.
I had the flats. That would have been 2019.
Dang, that
summer.
is recent.
Yeah. So right
It
after.
doesn't sound recent, but it is.
Right. I mean, I guess that was 3 years. It's coming up on 3 years ago. Was when I got my
graduated
first
high
pair.
school in 2019.
So did I. It was the summer after my senior year.
That's so weird.
And they were a gift, actually, for my brother. He got married, and he actually loves Converse more than I do.
Interesting.
He and his wife really love Converse. So, like, I was in his wedding, and, like, all of us in the wedding wore the same Converse.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, so he got them for us, and I actually have the date of his wedding on the back. They're pretty cool.
Nice. That's sweet.
I'll have to show them to you. I wore them here, but
Yeah.
I'm not wearing them currently. They're super beat up, but yeah. Then my second year on net, I knew that I really wanted some high tops, and one of my buddies, who I actually mentioned earlier, Pablo, the guy that likes bikes, he really loved Converse. We had the same size feet, so I just start borrowing his. And we had another girl on the team who also liked Converse, who had the same size feet, and so all 3 of us would just like share.
Dude, I had 2
pairs.
friends in high school who had the same size feet, and they would just swap shoes all the time.
Dude,
it's like
I'd never met anyone else in my life.
No one has my size foot.
Yeah.
So
What size are you?
13.
You see, I'm like a size like 8.5, which
yeah,
for a dude, like to find another guy that had the same size feet as me.
it's pretty
Never.
rare.
Yeah, very rare. I have very small feet.
And I have very large feet.
Yeah.
So
it was really cool. It was a fun experience. And then I just fell in love with them even more. We like something I really like to do with the girl is like, I would wear one of the red shoes and she would wear one of the red shoes, and then she had a pair of blue shoes, and then we'd both wear one of the blue shoes. We both had like mismatched Converse, but then they were matched when we were together. It was a lot of fun. We used to tell people we were twins. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I do like Converse. I also really like flannels. I guess like we're getting into my style now. This is pretty much my style. I wear jeans, typically my black jeans, hoodie, flannel.
it is really funny. So I was sitting there today in mass. Because I was like, I wonder if I'm going to see Mark here. Because I didn't know. I wasn't sure which time.
Yeah, I went to the 12:30 mass.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I was like, all right, it's like kind of warm out. What does Mark dress like when it's warm? Because I've only seen how you dress in like the winter
When it's cold.
and the fall.
Yeah.
And like it's that.
Right.
So I was like, what does he dress like when it's warm out?
See, that's the great thing, because
So
like
I'm really excited to see what that is.
from here, it's just like a layering thing. Like I take off the hoodie first, but I usually keep with the flannels throughout spring, and then summer comes around, usually just t-shirts.
Okay.
But fall and spring, I'm usually wearing flannels, and if it's a cold enough day, I do the hoodie flannel.
Okay.
So
we have pretty similar concepts of layering. I'm a big
Yeah.
proponent of layering.
layering just makes sense.
I have not worn a coat all winter.
Really.
Yeah, I just had a hoodie and then like a rain jacket. And I was fine.
See, I get cold easy, so even like sometimes I'll wear this plus a coat on over top all this.
That makes sense.
But yeah, respect.
Yep.
Respect. So Yeah, and something else people usually figure out about me pretty fast is I love the Lord.
For sure.
Love my homie Jesus. Peace out. So
There's not a crucifix in here. We're just pointing behind the camera.
a little vent back there that's like covered up.
Yeah.
And then smaller. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me.
For sure. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
We might see more of you. We
It'd
might
be
never
fun.
see you again.
Maybe not.
Hopefully the first, though.
It's a good time.
Deuces.